Welcome, everyone. So nice to have you here. I hope you're doing well. Our word of the day today, transformation. I was doing some reading yesterday. I'm going to share some thoughts from that with you. I don't know that the word transformation ever occurred in it, but it's the word that just kept coming to me, and I think it is such a powerful word. Very big word that is giving us this vision of a process of becoming something new. I was searching for some definitions to try to get a handle on the word. I'll share the one that I came to that I like the best, but even this one, check this one out. It doesn't really capture it to me, This is American Heritage Dictionary. A marked change, as in appearance or character, usually for the better. Okay, so we're sitting in a health space. With a weight loss space, you say a transformation, such a big word. We can see it in the body. I say if we're trying to lose weight, we want the body to look physically different, right? Lighter. You can see it. It's starting to go in this direction. The transformation that to me is so big is like caterpillar, cocoon, butterfly, right? It's like if you didn't know any better, you would not know these are the same species. This is this is life-changing. And I was thinking about transformation in the context of our discussion yesterday about a weight loss plateau. Something very common, we have a lot of linear thinking, our society very linear. We want weight loss to be a linear process. Very rare that that's the case. Weight loss often comes in kind of steps and then plateau for a while, and then we take another step. And then we're drifting in that fashion. The thing I was thinking about, people fear a plateau. Plateau is something they say is something not working. Look at the plateau as a cocoon, as a space. The caterpillar built that thing. It's in there. From the outside, you look at it, and you're watching this thing. You say, nothing is changing. Nothing is happening here. Like we're not moving in any direction. And then out of the other side, right, the butterfly emerges, transformed. Look at any sort of space that you can be in. It doesn't have to be a weight loss plateau. You say we're not looking for that necessarily, but we are on a journey. See, transformation and journey to me are like really similar words. I really like to use the word journey because journey isn't just a day trip. You know what I mean? A journey is a process. It's going somewhere of distance, And a transformation, it isn't really, would you say, is a transformation something that you seek? Does transformation say, yeah, that is calling to me, a transformation, to be something new? I was thinking about our discussion the other day about, randomized controlled trials in fasting space. People studying time-restricted eating, for example. How many people who are involved in a clinical trial of any kind for weight loss are undergoing a process of transformation? You know what I mean? Like if we're going to really try to drill down into some powerful levels of health, the goal of a lot of weight processes, of course, is like, I want to lose a few pounds, as I say, there's nothing wrong with that, right? You say, I just want the number on the scale to go down. As we're going to see in some of the reading we're going to do today, okay, this is a very superficial way to approach something. It's outcomes focused. We're just focused on an outcome, on the shell of a situation, but it is not a deep way to approach a process. And this is something that I would really like to help people do. Something that I would say simple fasting. Okay, what is that? What are we really trying to do here? I'd describe it, okay, a weight loss uh, experience or try to help people use gentle, thoughtful amounts of fasting to lose weight, okay? Like, yes, it's that, but I say there's a much deeper layer that is really what I am trying to do. I was realizing I filmed a video once very early in the channel, and it was really, poorly done. The lighting was bad. I talked so awkward. And so I think I took it off the channel, but it was like transformational weight loss is possible. And I really did like that line of thinking. I think, at the time, I'm trying to figure out, how do we present weight loss paths in the most thoughtful way? And maybe that word at the time it was too big, It was too big. I was like, oh, let's just start at a place that is like just a little more manageable than a word like transformation. But the more I've sat and thought about it, I was like, no, transformation is really the type of thing that we want. We want to be, this is what we've talked a lot about at the channel. This is where I was getting back into that space. We're trying to have a way of being in the world. We want to transform our experience from one of struggle to one of flow. Want to transform our health from a place where we say, I'm not completely satisfied with this, to a place of peace and contentment where we say, hey, I actually do feel good about this. Like I am living in alignment in a way that resonates with my being, that feels in alignment with the world, feels at peace. Everything is at peace. This, to me, is a transformational mindset. It's a complete change in thinking. It's like a cocoon, right, in our society, right? Our society does not have these things. Our society is not content. Our society is a society of struggle and consumption. What does it look like to have a transformational space? Like we're looking at these metaphors like the squash that has like the thick shell that is protecting the space. Think about the cocoon that we're going today that is like the shield that is providing the environment where transformation can take place, protecting it from the outside, everything that is going to disrupt the delicate process. We had the quote that I read the other day from a tiny little book. It's like, let go of anger, right? It's an acid that will burn away the delicate layers of our happiness. Think about the delicate process of transformation in a cocoon. It's got to be protected so that it's not disturbed. Otherwise, like, not going to happen. So, what I want for anybody coming into this sort of space is that we would have an environment like that, protected, thoughtful, powerful, transformative, where it's not like I just lost a couple pounds, Someone say, oh, I lost a couple pounds. You say, that's nice. Wouldn't really describe that as life-changing. Wouldn't really describe that as like, oh, it was incredible. I was like transformed. I'm going to read and glean some more insights from this book, Atomic Habits, today. I knew I was going to like this book. That's, why I bought it. I knew it was going to be good, but it's so good. It is so good. The analogy we got from it the other day, turning up the temperature in the room, melting the ice cube, man, that's just one of my favorites. I love that. That analogy is just like the transformative process of the cocoon, that we can't see it from the outside, but change is happening. And we are trying to create that environment that nourishes that situation as much as possible. this section, listen to this. Why is it so easy to repeat bad habits and so hard to form good ones? Few things can have a more powerful impact on your life than improving your daily habits. I saw a quote once. What was it? It's like we shape our habits in the beginning, but our habits shape us in the end. Right? I don't know who said that, but that's like right in line with this. Habits so powerful. We are really our habits. We are what we do, like in a way. Is that true? It's like a cycle. It's a flow between it. We do what we are. We are what we do. These things are together. This is how we change. We change what we do. Habits shape who we are. Do you see the cycle, the flow? This is what we're trying to get in the middle of that process. We want to transform our experience, transform who we are, transform what we do. That's another way to think of changing our habits. They say, listen to this sentence. I underlined this, and I got a little upset with it. They said, we know this, yet it is likely that at this time next year, you'll be doing the same thing rather than something better. And I said, no, I won't. But I will say, look, that's true from the book, right? I mean, most people a year later are doing the same thing that they were doing like the year before. This is the natural pattern, right? And we've been through this in so much of our thinking. That complacency and resistance to change is the default mode of operation for pretty much most of human experience. To change, and especially to change boldly and significantly, to get to a level of change that we say is transformative, that I'm leading something completely different in my mind, right? That's big. There's no way around it. That's a place, when you just think about, we'll see, we'll do a post-mortem on this book. The subtitle of this book, An Easy and Proven Way to Do It. Easy is a word, we will hope so, right? We always work for it. We want things to be as easy as possible. But if you're going to be on a transformative journey, easy is not a word that I would encourage the expectation of. Most things of value, I say, it has been my experience, most things of value in life have some degree of difficulty associated with them. That is actually the barrier to access to pretty much most of what we want in life. Overcoming something. They say here, it often feels difficult to keep good habits going for more than a few days, even with sincere effort and the occasional burst of motivation. So I just tell you right off the bat, if you've kept, this is true for most people. I say most people experience that. If you have some good things going, where you have built some habits, and I know people listening have done that, I say, give yourself a big pat on the back. Give yourself the silver star of the day, because you've done something very difficult already. Build some positive momentum on that. And then think about, how did you do it, right? This is a path that can be replicated. We talked about, have you overcome a mountain already? We talked about people who've gotten sugar out of their life and that it took months to do, but then they got over it. And I said, now you're a mountain climber, right? Now you have done something that most people, honestly, in this society would benefit from doing, but very few people do. See, however, once your habits are established, they may stick around forever, even the unwanted ones. Despite our best intentions, unhealthy habits, could be eating junk food, they say, other things, can feel impossible to break. Here's 2 reasons they say here why it can be hard to break a habit. Say, maybe we're trying to change the wrong thing. This would help us really get in a level. What are we really trying to change here? Love that. And then we might be trying to change our habits in the wrong way. And here is where they get in an insight that is so insightful. I think you're really going to love it. Okay, they say try to change the wrong thing. And I want to show you this picture. From the book. These are the 3 layers of behavior change, the things that we could change. And I'm thinking of this like a shell, like a nut with a seed in the middle, something protected. Outcomes on the outer layer. This is what we were saying. That is the typical weight loss approach. I just want to lose some weight. That's the outcome. That's the goal. That's the thing we're looking to. So we are looking at that. There's deeper layers to it, though. The process, we've talked about that even from this book, is saying, like, what is the system that we're developing? What is the process that we are going through? That's kind of like our way of being. But look at the center. Now we're diving really deep. Identity. Man, I looked at this picture and I said, like, whoa, identity is deep. Here's the way they describe these. The first layer, something superficial like a result, like losing weight. Most of the goals we want to set are here. The second layer, changing the process. Implementing a new routine at the gym, decluttering our desk. Developing a meditation practice. These are the habits that we build at this level. But the third is the deepest layer. This is the level where we change our beliefs. Change the worldview. Change your self-image. Did you know you can do it? Change your judgments about yourself and about others. Most of the beliefs, assumptions, and biases that we hold are at this level. Outcomes are about what you get. Processes are about what you do. Identity is about what you believe. And when it comes to building habits that last, problem is not that one level is better or worse than another. All levels of change are useful in their own way. The problem is the direction of change. This is the insight that I think is so interesting to see. Look at this one. This is what we really want to think about. Outcome-based habits. Look, they're forcing their way in from the outside. We're trying to change the outcome, and then we look at the process, and then this is influencing the identity. Look at the identity-based habits. They flow out. The identity is transformed first. And then that flows out through the processes that ultimately affect the outcomes. Do you see the change in the mindset, the way of thinking? To me, I think that is such a great way to think about it. Oh, man. Listen to a couple examples he gives here. Here's at least one. See, imagine 2 people trying to quit smoking, he's talking about. The first person says, no, I'm trying to quit. They're getting offered cigarettes. No, I'm trying to quit. Okay. You say, well, that seems pretty nice, but look at the second person says, no thanks. I'm not a smoker. Like, do you see the identity? See how much more powerful that is? Think about taking that kind of power into any sort of habit that you are trying to change. It's not like, no, I'm trying to achieve this goal. Okay? It's not who I am. You say small difference, but the statement like this signals a shift in identity. Most people do not ever consider an identity change when they set out to improve. They say something like, I want to lose weight, and if I do this, then I'll lose weight. Okay, it's like, that's the outcome layer. This is the layer where most of medicine resides, I would say, like we were saying, most of weight loss counseling and studies. Think of every study. Very rare that someone is getting down into this sort of level. This is where transformation resides, in my view, that is so much bigger than one specific goal. Need to consider the beliefs that drive the action. Shift the way we look at ourselves. And realize that an old identity can sabotage plans for change. Behind every one of our actions is belief that drives those actions. Have you thought about it that way? They make a comment later on in here that behavior that is incongruent with our identity is not going to last. That's what makes habits difficult to stick to if they aren't in alignment. We ultimately act in alignment with our beliefs. Belief might be about who we are. This is why I ask the question, what do we really want? Like, who am I really? You know what I mean? This is the type of question you can ask in a meditation space. Dig deep. Then, when we identify, it's like, no, this is who I have thought I was, this is who I am, then the processes can flow out of that drive the actions that we seek. He says here, it's one thing to say, I am the type of person who wants this. It is something very different to say, I am the person who is this. True change is an identity change. You might start with a habit because of motivation, but the only reason you'll stick with it is it becomes a part of your identity. Anyone can convince themselves to visit a gym or eat healthy like a few times, right? But if you don't shift your beliefs, then it's hard to stick with it in the long term. This can be good or bad, right? We have the stories in our mind that we tell ourselves about who we are. We can change that identity. We can change it into the most positive, thoughtful version of ourselves that can possibly be. That's what our goal is, right? That's the transformational process. These whole things is the inversion of everything that works against us. All the voices in our mind that tell us, you could never do that. That's not who you are. All these negative things. Stories that we have told ourselves for years, ideas that were put in there even by other people or by culture. The more deeply a thought or action is tied to our identity, the more difficult it is to change. It can feel comfortable to believe what your culture believes, to do what upholds your self-image, even if it isn't helpful to you. The biggest barrier is identity conflict. Yeah. So this is what I say in a transformational space. I love that thinking. I love this image. I love this concept to flow out from our identity through processes that align with our identity and help us to walk on the path to the outcomes that we want. So we're here, in a weight loss space, in a health space. We're trying to take powerful steps toward better health. What is the thinking that will help us do this? To say, is this part of the path that we need to walk? Very much in alignment. The Mountain is You, right? This is the book that we are alternating with. That we step through these processes outward from that. Who are we trying to be? And that's shaping our way of being in the world that we've talked about from so much of this artistic thinking. Who are we trying to be? How are we trying to be? What is our way of being in the world that is reflecting who we are ultimately? To me, this is the deep level that is at our identity. That's where transformation resides. And that is the type of mindset that can help us get into a flow state. We're trying to get to a space. Like I said, we're not trying to say that things are easy. Trying to just say, oh, it's easy to transform my life, okay? No, I say no. It takes deep work to do that, to change our identity. That's the deep work, but it's the very important work to come to alignment and peace, somewhere in here, right? But doing that deep work is what allows the change to flow out, so that as we start acting in alignment with that space, who are we? That's where we can find the flow. That's where things are finding a place of ease. That's what we want. We're trying ultimately to do things to make it as easy as possible. To do something difficult, to change our life is a difficult ask. In a culture that is not really supportive of it, where complacency reigns supreme, right? We create this space for ourselves, like that shell, like that image, right? The little bubble, the cocoon, where we can drive that transformation, driving our process, our thinking, solidifying these core, most important, foundational thoughts and beliefs of our identity and who we are walking through the world. To me, that is where it is at. That is where it is at. It's such a deeper place to start than just saying, like, I was like, okay, I'm going to eat twice in a day and see how it goes. Like, this is a perfectly fine place to start. I like how he said that. Every layer of this, onion has its own value. I've definitely had people, fasting process I've described on the channel. It's got superficial layers, got deep layers. Fasting to me, very, very powerful space, okay? Therefore, can be approached very thoughtfully and gently. As a place to start with these things, have a superficial practice with it. See, if the transformation, say the word is too big, I don't want to dive in some transformation process. Like we've said, hey, this is okay. Like everything is okay with it. Sit on this superficial sort of process. Say, hey, I can align my eating in this sort of way. I've got an outcome. I've seen plenty of people have good outcomes, saying, we're not trying to transform our whole life. We're just trying to find a new pattern that is serving us, outcomes focused. That could be good enough. Nothing about what I'm saying is any kind of pressure to say, oh, if you aren't doing fasting this way, if you aren't diving deep onto some deep thing and uncovering all these things. Not required, right? No requirements. I have to do anything. But I am showing it is something that is available, right? Where we can have a practice. It could even be for a long period of time. I'm flowing in a space. Outcomes focused, even no judgment, just fine. What if you get in a pattern? You say, I can alternate, teach myself some 2-meal-a-day eating, doing some OMAD, opening up some fasting space. Say, train the body to do it. Maybe that's the only thing you ever do. And then alternating, like we said yesterday, don't have to be stuck in one specific groove. You can lean harder in it for a while, then back off for a little while. Like, that's fine. Take an entire break from it so you don't, just because you say, I have an open mind to fasting and I can do it and I've done it, doesn't mean it's for even every season or every week. Like, whatever it is just fasting is openness. It can be open to that space. And you say, can just having a mindset of openness like that, just being open to the pattern of it, I say that even of itself can be transformative. Like, I'm not even, like, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, like, we go back to this image, like, both of these things can have value. It's not that this top image, can't work and have a thing. Like, if you are, say I don't want to start at that deepest layer, let stuff flow out. I see how it could be. See if it feels better. Sit on this pattern. Fasting is the type of thing it can kind of soak in. So when they're on this outcomes layer, say, I'm going to just dial in on this pattern, help me get an outcome. Okay? But then as you're doing that, you see, and then we're diving in like some of our other thinking, like we talked about, build out the SOPs for life. There's like a next level of things, like what really is our way of being in the world. And as you go through that, I would say that over time that can shape and change us and change like that identity. We can get to it. Whatever serves you. I loved that session we did, no rules for weight loss, right? There's no rules. Here we're seeing concepts that can shape our experience, like this quote where we started. We shape our habits in the beginning. Our habits shape us in the end. We're trying to get into that flow. Say, set some new habits, help to shape our experience in a different way as we're flowing through this. And then we say, well, we can run that cycle backwards too. We can dive in with some really thoughtful space in on identity, who we are, what we're doing, how we're living, what are these things, what is really of value. And then out of that space, then the process can flow backwards. Then the decisions become hopefully easier. Like, just love that person says, no, I'm not a smoker anymore. It's like we're just completely separated from it. That would be a powerful mindset to take into this sort of space. See how it goes. I say try out some of the thinking. Try out that process. If you have some space in your day today, say, I'm going to dive in deep on this layer. What would it look like to really dial in on that space and then push it outwards? Could that help me walk through this experience in flow through the experience? That's what I like it. Flow through the experience in a better way. Let me know your experience, including if you're coming through on the replay. I'd love to hear your comments and reflections. Share your reflections on this big word, transformation, and what does it mean for you? Is it something that is of interest to you? Do you say, I like the idea of transforming? I don't quite know what that would look like, but it's a word that resonates. Is it a word that you don't like? I'm happy to hear it too. Let's have an ongoing conversation about it, including in the future. See, to me, these are big concepts. To me, it's the type of thing you got to open up some space for it to let it sink in and say, what does it mean really in my life? A transformational process could be weight loss, could be health and anything, could be any avenue of our life because, of course, everything in our experience flows together. Our work, our family, our relationships, everything that we do is kind of flowing together in this space that is making up our experience, that is determining, our stress and mindset and all these things that flow together. We're trying to build a powerful mindset of health that can flow out into every aspect of our life so that we're just experiencing health in everything that we do, including, our relationships and our work and just the way that we are being in it is really the vision that I would have, certainly what I am trying to do. Beautiful to share this space with you today. I hope you have a beautiful day full of meaning, purpose, and some deep thinking on what it means. What does transformation mean to you? And do some visioning, in the picture. What do you think of that sentence, like he said in there? Are we going to be the same a year from now? We're going to be doing the same things? Or are we going to be different? Are we going to be new? Are we going to be taking steps? We center ourselves also in this present moment. We can take a step today. That's what we can do. We'll focus here. We'll take the most powerful step forward in health that we can do. Let's go do it. I'll see you tomorrow.